Hey YouTube, it's Corey. Um, so I really wanted to make this video on the 11th, which was National Coming Out Day, but I didn't get a chance to because I was so busy with work and everything and catching up on sleep. So I figured why not make it now? um, the coming out process and the experience is, as we all know, unique to every individual. Um, but I think mine was pretty calm for the most part, and just really personal and emotional and touching and beautiful and all of those wonderful things that, you would hope that a coming out experience would be. Um, I first came out to my friend when I was a junior. This is the first time I'd ever admitted to anybody that I was gay. A junior in high school. Her name is Jennifer. And we were in the library, and she was just kind of talking about this girl that she liked or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to tell you something. I was like, I'm gay. And she was like, yeah, I know. um, and so after I told her, I kind of just started telling other people. The second person I told was my friend Kristen. And she was just amazing about it. She was like, oh my gosh, Corinth. That's what she called me, Corinth. She was like, that's awesome. She was like, that's so amazing. I'm glad you told me and wanted to share that with me. And then the first adult that I told was actually a teacher, surprisingly. And I did it in a really kind of sly way. We had an assignment, and it was for creative writing, which is my favorite class, and she was my favorite teacher. Her name was Miss Mickle. And I just kind of wrote a story about it. And she came up to me after class, and she was like, I just wanted to thank you for sharing that with me. And that, your secret's safe with me, and that I think you're amazing and wonderful. Um, and that really meant a lot, especially having someone who I looked up to and who I admired on such a higher level accept me and appreciate me and think that I'm a beautiful person. That meant the world. Um, I was still really, really scared to tell my parents. I mean, I'd lost some friends. I'm not gonna lie about it or sugarcoat it. Some people just can't accept it, and in my opinion, that's fine. If you can't accept it, then I don't need you in my life, and you were never a real friend in the first place. Um, I'm not gonna hate them because they don't accept it. I'm not gonna be mad at them. It is what it is. We all have our own beliefs, and they're entitled to their opinions. Um, and that's just how I feel about it. Um, my mom and I had kind of talked about it when I was younger. Um, I did not come into the whole gay thing in a smart way at all. Um, and I don't suggest this to anyone, but um, I kind of was talking to people online, and it never occurred to me that these people may not be who they say that they are. So one day, I was right when I had first started driving and I had my permit. My mom was like, why don't you drive me to the store? And I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I'm going to get to drive. And she actually took me out to this lake and made me park. And she was like, I just want to let you know that I've been viewing what you've been looking at online and the people that you're talking to. And I want you to know that some of these people are really a lot older than what they say they are. And you better never think about meeting these people. And I was like, oh no, mom, I would never. I just was kind of talking to them. She was like, well, is there anything that you want to tell me? And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, well, are you gay? And I was like, no, I don't know. I'm bi. I'll let you know when I figure it out. And she was like, okay, well, you do that. And so time passed on by, and I was in my freshman year of college, and I was texting my boyfriend like all the time. And I was sitting on the couch one day, and she was like, I'm getting sick of this. She was like, I don't know anything that goes on in your personal life, and I want to know who the hell you're texting all the time, and this is just not okay. I want to know what's going on. So I just looked at her and I was like, fine, you want to know what's going on? In the morning, I'll come to your store, um, and I'll sit down in your office and we'll talk about it. And if you start crying, that's it. It's over with. We'll never speak of it again. So the next morning, I got up right before going to class. I went down to her store and I sat down on her desk and I looked at her. And I was just so scared. I have no idea why. I didn't think that she would disown me or anything. I mean, that was always a fear, but deep down in my heart, I always knew that that would never happen because my mom is so amazing. Um, and so I sat down on her desk and I was like, remember when I told you that I didn't know if I was gay or straight and I thought I was bi? And she was like, yeah. I was like, well, I'm gay. And she started crying. And I was like, oh my God, really? I told you if you do this, then this is it. We're never going to talk about it again. And she looked at me and she said, Corey, I'm not crying because I disapprove or I'm hurt or I don't accept you. I'm crying because I know that there are people in our family and in our lives that aren't going to accept you for this. And I just looked at her and I was like, you know what? Then I don't need them in my life. If they can accept every aspect of who I am, then those aren't people I need in my life anyway, and I'm okay with that. Um, and so she was crying, and then I started crying, and we hugged each other, and we stood in her office literally for like 5 minutes just hugging each other. And honestly, it felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. It was just the most amazing thing ever. Um, and then I just started telling family. She started telling family, and she let them know that if you don't welcome this or you can't accept this, this is my son and I love him regardless of whatever he decides to do in his life. If you can't do the same, then you won't be in my life either. And luckily, just everybody in the family has been so amazing about it. We don't really talk about it. My dad and I don't talk about it or anything like that. But I know that he and my brother both love and accept me for who I am. My brother stuck up for me in school and continues to stick up for me about my sexuality. So even though we don't talk about it, I know that they accept it and that they love me. It's just, it's uncomfortable. They're both very masculine and southern, and that's okay. I talk to my mom about it. I talk to my aunts about it, my cousins, my friends. Um, just, it's been amazing. Coming out was the most beautiful thing I could have ever done for myself. And after doing that, I felt like I really came into my own skin. Um, I felt more comfortable, not only just being gay, but, being a bigger guy, and, things just kind of started to fall into place, and, life was good. Life was good before, but life was amazing after. After I was finally able to admit to myself and the people that I love the most who I really am. Um, and it made dating a lot easier, that's for sure. But in terms of coming out, the best advice I could give anybody is do it when you feel like it's right for you and when you're ready. Don't rush it, because you'll just regret it if you don't do it on your own terms. Um, and don't feel like you have to do it for anybody. If somebody's pressuring you to come out, then, that's not really somebody you need in your life either. And that's not somebody who loves and cares about you and who wants the best for you. Because if they really did, then they would understand how hard it is and how personal it is. Um, and they would let you do it on your own accord. And that's how it should be. So, do it when you're ready. Do it when you feel like it's time. And keep in mind that, some people are going to accept it and be great about it, but there are people who aren't. And you just have to take the good with the bad. And that's pretty much it. Just remember that you're beautiful. God loves you, and I love you, and stay positive and always be true to yourself. Love.